played in their own region of Korea. They're 11-0. It's a very good map for them, but I can only assume that their opponents have expected them to keep everything the same, which they have, and then built a composition specifically to be able to beat that. So I'm favoring XIP though. They've got a very good record versus this specific squad as well when playing in Pacific. Obviously, the one factor that really changes here today is that Korean crowd, which is heavily on one side's favor. Surprise, surprise, the Koreans. But we'll have to see if they can beat a squad they've struggled against, and that's not the start they were looking for.
Immediate shutdown. Graves going back in for more, another bite, but down to 3 HP. There's time to fall back at least. Ninetails not able to punish. They've taken a few blows of their own, and that side angle from Graves gets another. Mighty not spotted on the backside until just now. With the chance to make this really costly, she can just stay alive as the teammates come flooding back in, and the right clicks land across the board. Zipto, 1-0 to start this out, and as you can see on the top of your screens, the stakes are pretty high here today. We're in the elimination phase of the tournament. Whichever team loses here, today will haunt their what-ifs.
Yeah, it's a rough spot to be in, I think, especially for Ninetails, where you come in against a team that you've taken a singular map off. That map was instantly banned out in the veto as well, so that's definitely not going to help them moving forward. And then the map that you're choosing, the next in the series, is one you struggled on earlier in the tournament. So everything points that this should be a Zipto victory, but we'll have to see if they can turn things around. That pistol, well, I think Grams did. I think it was well over 100 damage just on the first shot. It was a collat that ended up connecting onto a second player. This round, definitely some weaknesses, a couple of pistols, but I see that Outlaw and I automatically think, like, well, against these unarmored players, it's going to be easy pickings. Yeah,
of course, the Outlaw started towards B long, though, and you can see that Ninetails have already taken a lot of space. Now, with Zipto pushing up on B long, seeing nothing, pushing up on A long, seeing nothing, and having no presence in mid, this is something that they're well aware of. And of course, with the Prowler coming through Art, that only confirms this is where the play is coming through. So I like the idea to just give up the site. It could even end up with a plant going the other direction, but better off not giving them those individual fights and then launching into those retakes together. Really nicely done to start this out. The question of damage doesn't seem to have too much on the other side, with only one player falling.
Yeah, nice stuff. Like I think, especially as you said, like not giving in to the maybe the greed of just like, I want to get myself some extra eco kills. But I do think as well it's good to see Yumi get off to a good start. I had I want to say a pretty horrific debut here at GCC. It didn't go well in her initial battle, but definitely someone that I think in this matchup in particular has had an absolute field day. Same can be said for Dana on the other side, though. Obviously, as it's been mentioned many a time, the youngest player in the tournament, coming in at 16 years of age, has the confidence of someone who's been playing a lot longer. And if you want to watch some highlight reels, give her a shout-out. She's been making them for 4 years on her YouTube channel. So definitely someone who's been playing the game since day one while being a youngster.
Yeah, quite a catalog to catch up on in the off-season, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a few videos.
A few hours of footage. Well, for Ninetails, big investment. Rifles come out. Guardian on 3-3-2 or Sammy. As Zipto go for aggression down on mid. 4 players pushing up. We've seen this a couple times. We saw it in the last round where they're willing to give up map control. This time it's towards the B site, leaving Vito's little trap there to section off that info. Ever knows there's a player close, but the second will catch them off guard. Maybe does well. At least find one, but sliding in after being seized, that is a risky play and no reward this time. Advantage to Zipto.
She's confident. You can't deny the confidence, but that's madness, yeah.
With the spike, too.
Yeah, one health after being... I'm guessing she just didn't notice that she'd been seized. Otherwise, that is mental, but yeah.
The timing, yeah. Already initiated the slide, and that was...
So going back now. The good thing is, her opponents have given up the spike. I'm a little bit surprised by that, just because of some of the weaker weaponry, but I guess when you have the Bulldog and the Outlaw, you're kind of sat there going, I don't want to be up close. And now they've been able to completely reposition, and they're basically just playing for rotations. The fact is, though, Graham's in a great spot to try and just deny them. Look at the swing together, but even still, 3-3-2 has found one. The problem is 25 health, 2 to find. I think realizing in the retake she stands no chance. It turns out she had no chance either way. Graham's with another onto the board, weaponry upgrades, and a 3-0 start for Zipto.
It's definitely an unusual angle to see the Outlaw in, right? Holding that door from so close, but it works really well, whether by design or by coincidence. The 2 shots coming out of the Outlaw, a lot of the time teams are going to think, oh, okay, they got to reload. Let's push it. Let's run it down on that Outlaw, take him down. And there's actually 3 players there, so you see the other 2 immediately swing in, although they did end up losing the initial fight. The trades come in thick and fast with Zipto on a 3-0 start. That pressure's going to mount on the other side, but the reality is, this is Zipto's map pick, but it is also somewhere we expect Ninetails to do well. Early fight goes to Zipto, and they're going to keep scrapping for this control over main. That's going into Ninetails' favor. They've got the numbers, and they're overwhelming them.
He's still here. Maybe not expecting another player, but even still, Haste, quick at her toes, is going to be able to trade that out. It's left all onto Graham, seemingly wanting to get as many ghost kills as possible. Another added to the tally. And she has been off to a flyer of a start. Almost just playing the bait, I like this. Using the steps of the fake out to mask her actual move. You could see they are patiently waiting for someone to try and swing, someone to try and give something away. Instead, Grahams was just waiting for the tap. We'll now have to play that retake in the end.
Fake teleport.
Blocking vision.
Time, plenty of it on the clock for Grahams to clear all these angles, but the problem is, you know, as you move forward to clear out pit, the space that you've spotted before behind you is now open. There's no safe haven to play from, and with so many angles that these remaining players could be hiding on, trying to pull them out into the fight is the only option. The grab well avoids that, though. An idea from Grahams of those positions aren't long, but the shots, they do not land. Ninetails find themselves there first with a MasterCard Thrifty, and I like the adjustment to go as 5, push down one part of the map. We saw it on an eco as well, but I think a good read on the fact that Zipto have been playing aggressive, sometimes B and A long, or sometimes picking a spot on the map to push down.
The thing with this one, that it kind of was the opposite to everything else we'd seen from Zipto so far. They'd always been like playing the fights together, like maybe giving up a position and then grouping up. This one was much more 1v1, like someone trying to bring back the round after a domino effect. So it was great work from Ninetails, but I do think at the same time some overcommitment from the other side.
Well, that won't happen this time, as immediately they'll be backing off with the reveal on A, sending Zipto back towards the site itself, but the push coming out on mid instead. Again, this is something that we're seeing from Zipto every single round. They get aggressive, and Ninetails seem to have a read on that, leaving players to lurk outside of B and mid while this pressure's made on main, and now Zipto push down on main, but of course Ninetails are waiting again, playing into their hands. The read is perfect for Ninetails. Every shot seems to land. Grahams alone with an op in hand. A very tough clutch to make happen. First will be found, though. The chance to pick up a rifle instead of that op.
Cutting through.
Just to get that weapon. Grahams believes that she has a chance.
Maybe it'll be genius, but we'll have to wait and see. Back the other way, and well, a millimeter away from putting this into a 1v1. The problem now is going to be the amount of time on the clock. I feel like she just accidentally alt-tabbed. Because it just, froze on the spot in the middle of the clutch. But hey, she decided to get the operator go out of there. Done a little bit of extra damage, but I don't know, trading out the dimensional drift for what is an extra kill, I don't know if that's worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it for an extra kill, but look at the potential. I mean, there was a shot that whizzed right past Haste's head, and then the op in the 1 versus 1, but Grahams needs to run, needs to flee. That op is valuable in the next round, but luckily, Haste isn't going to go swinging. 5 HP, and that op is carried forward, but for Ninetails again, you got to give them credit that they're doing exactly what they need to do here, reading how Zipto want to play these early rounds and shutting down that disrespect.
Yeah. I wonder if we would. Wow, they're going to have to.
Hey,
They're going to have to sort of continue the aggression in this round just because of the purchase that they have. But I do wonder if that's going to be a turning point in the match when Zipto maybe slow down just a little bit. I am looking though at Yuumi with the overdrive in hand. This time, no contention found outside of A. But they've been given that spot for free. The problem is it's kind of an all eggs in one basket scenario. You've got a couple of players here, but not a whole lot to really play with. And then the operator just trying to hold down at mid-cross. Still with this aggressive position, though. There's a chance.
Go, go. My ult's ready.
Ninetails again. That
They
corner is
know.
going to be cleared as well. Although Piety does well to still
Spike
find one in that
down A.
position.
Leg.
Up shot hits the leg. Dana down to
Watch it,
30. How much more can be found from this spot? Now a lot. Capricious landing a big kill, going back to clear. Full Moon has got the knife out, but the shots don't land. Oh, it's a disaster as Full Moon shines bright. It's 3, it's a 3. Ninetails tie it up.
How she managed to survive that scenario. Being peaked by 3 players, and one of them ends up getting wallbanged as they try to reload. And then the corrective shots were just fantastic. A linchpin in the round, because it looked like that could have easily fallen apart, but already seeing the climb back. 3-3. What was an early explosive start from Zipto, what seemed like could have been them just steamrolling through their map choice. It's now started to look a little bit more dangerous, as Ninetails have found their momentum, found some of that individual brilliance as well. But this is where things get very interesting, because of course the buy now for Zipto is not a great one, but we are still sitting there with an awful lot of ultimates coming into this round, and ones that could easily have high amounts of impact.
Yeah, it looks like their decision's going to be to take this on a low buy, and I think coming into the next buy round, that's really where they need to draw circles around their scars and sort of look at these early rounds. The fact that Ninetails are playing the defaults, baiting in that aggression, waiting for them in the buy rounds and catching them, that's not something I expect to see happening, at least in that same way. A main aggression's been constantly at least slowed with the bursts of utility from Ninetails, so I expect to see Zipto look elsewhere in the next. But in this one, stacking up the A site, hoping that someone comes walking in, but they've left that gap on mid, as we've seen before. Problem is, losing Grahams and not knowing that there's already players coming into their spawn. Capricious is not going to have a good time. Shut down by Samsami, and there's more of a fight brewing towards the spawn. Great flash, and oh, they got there in the end.
Yeah, a little bit awkward for a moment. Unfortunately for Con, she couldn't be further away, and has also tripped the Vice wall. So Full Moon knows exactly where her opponent's going to be. It's not the prettiest fight, but it is a fantastic round. Flawless for Ninetails. That slow start feels like a thing of the past, and a lot of it is off that Vice play. 10-4 right now while lurking across the map. And considering that I think the first round they won was an all-in 5-player push-up, since then they've been able to keep doing that, but just, okay, Ninetails is now her own island somewhere else that they've got to deal with.
Yeah, very important as well for just containing those pushes. I think you also have to have haste covering that B-long angle, right? Because Ninetails have the Vice wall sitting for the A push, sitting to cover that flank. So if you're holding mid solo, you're going to be under a lot of pressure. It means there's only 3 to go towards A main, but with the utility coming in from Fade, they've been consistently able to push Zipto back. And this is what I said. I didn't want to see Zipto go for A main aggression. They haven't been able to do anything up against the utility of Ninetails. I wanted to see aggression elsewhere. And they've gone for a 3-player mid push, op holding B. A lot of control here.
Concealment.
But Ninetails, unless they are late sending a player through mid, like it's not like we've seen a massive shift from the entire team there a lot. Although we did in the previous round when they walked through the door.
Here.
The problem is that the goal, I feel, was for Con to try and delay. There is no delay to be had. I think she was going to immediately try and grab well them, but once a player runs through, there really isn't much of an option for her to do that. It leaves an easy site take with only one defender, and while Grahams may know that there was a player on the other side of this wall, doing anything about it is going to be difficult. Maybe a chance to try and pre-fire 3-3-2. That could make things interesting. Leaves a little bit of an opener, but that time is ticking and still plenty of post-plant. And now with only one standing, Capricious may just want to try and save the operator. Never mind, we'll go down to haste. 5-3 up now. They are running away with this.
A huge round from Haste. I think we see exactly the benefit of this style of play from Ninetails in playing that little bit slow. They had that player covering mid in the form of Full Moon and Haste covering B. They shift towards the A site. That wall is then tripped as the Neon goes running through. Yumi's easily picked off. Haste ends up getting another as those players that were coming through the top of mid, there were two of them, they get divided in two. And then the late play back around through A long. Again, like we've seen from Ninetails, the willingness to go towards mid as a team sometimes, but the majority of the time it is this slow shift back around with a lurker around mid playing a super slow game, and it's working wonders for them. Zipto left without really a clue how this game has slipped away from them. Those early aggressive stances were working so well for them, but now they've been shut down across the board, and this just looks like an identity diff in favor of Ninetails for now, at least. 5 rounds in a row, but plenty more to be played for after this pause.
It's definitely not a death sentence just yet. I'm also happy as well that we're actually, I think Zipto's coach struggled to get here for the first game that they played, but has now managed to show up as well. So maybe more of an opportunity when it comes to these post-pause rounds. Of course, we have seen in the past the potential for some decent attack sides on this map, so it's definitely not a death sentence if this half was to slip away from Zipto, but it definitely seems like they've kind of boxed themselves in, which is odd because you've got the Astra, you've got the Veto, like some strong defensive capabilities, but a lot of what they've been trying has been aggression, and I'll be honest, Ninetails have not struggled to deal with that at all.
No, not since round 4. Now with the op out, not the op, the outlaw, but effectively up against light shields it could be, and there are plenty of light shields over in the camp of Zipto. They've got to be very careful not to go swinging wide into those angles, but eventually someone's got to get curious, someone's got to get info. Khan has it. 3 players, I think, she's just spotted walking down long. The spike's being retrieved. There's a shift towards the B side. It looks like, okay, there we go. Spike picked up, and actually they're going back the other direction. I was going to say it looks like they're going to send it fully. They're going to commit to the B site, and that could have been a mistake with the rotations already in. The thing for Zipto is they can always rotate back pretty quickly thanks to having that ult in play. That's a circle. It's a beautiful circle.
Oh, they're still getting information. That's the problem, though. Like the Prowlers are almost selling them a falsity on the Zipto side, and it's holding players into that side of the map. 30 seconds left. Now the game will be given away, and there is that quick rotation that you mentioned, a third player in towards this site, but Dana already taken a large amount of space, but also taking a bullet to the dome. Graham's rotation has already worked this magic. Full Moon, though, has just sprinted in, caught with utility in hand, but the trades from Eva are even better. Graham still trying to hold on to the backline, but Eva is just better.
10 seconds
Only
left.
Con remaining. Plenty of guns to find.
Planted.
But are any of them in a place that can be retrieved? There's one to her left, but getting to it would revolve around killing Eva. It's not pretty, but it's got the job done. Guardian retrieved, but it won't matter. 3-3-2. Comfortable to close. And what was probably the closest round we've seen in a while still goes the way of the Koreans.
Yeah, after the pause, nothing has changed except, I suppose, the margins by which defeat is tasted. Yeah, but that margin doesn't really show up on the scoreboard, doesn't show up in the second half. There's a couple rounds left to play for. And if this keeps up with an eco coming in from Zipto, we could see a dominant lead by the time we go to half number 2.
Yeah, I also... Oh, okay.
Damn.
I want to say as well, though, I feel like the economy management in this game from Zipto has been really weird.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's been 4 or 5, like, sort of mixed buy rounds. Like, it never really felt like they have a full purchase. Like, someone in that round was on a Guardian or a Sheriff. Like, that's happened too much on this defensive side for my liking. Maybe they'll get away with it. They've already found an opener. All right. Yumi's just decided that you doubt my pistol. And my pistol will prove a point. Speaking of proving a point, Full Moon. He's got a full house. 14 kills already.
And bailed them out of a bad situation earlier when it looked like Zipto were going to make it work in a low buy. It was Full Moon finding 3 kills that changed the course of that round. And it looks like she's done it again.
Again with
Graham's
the ult.
1v3. I mean, the ult was popped before it was a 1v3 at least. And with the chance to go long and get that weapon, it was worth it. But then everybody fell. And now Graham's all alone. left to try to make something of this round. They've got credits for the next, so saving it ain't the name of the game. Got to get in there, but playing through the smoke, already used the flash as well. They're not going to fall for that decoy after the jump through.
Yeah.
3 kills and a 7th round on the board for Ninetails. Zipto are really stalling out of this game. And keep in mind, as much as we said, this is a good map for Ninetails, Zipto came in picking it. I don't see why.
Yeah, I guess feeling confident in it themselves. Obviously, we haven't seen it played within this patch or within the last few months by either of these teams. It wasn't in the pool. It would be weird if we had seen it. I do also think, like, I understand retrieving the weapon, but the ult that's twice being used on an eco round, and both times having no impact. Especially when you've been struggling on retakes in general. I maybe would have liked it kept to try and drag home one of these buy rounds. Already though, a very fast take in towards this B-side. It's been mostly A hits, and so a complete different change. And now Hex is perfectly positioned. Even expects the second. Wow, this is looking like a completely different Ninetails to the other day.
It's deja vu for Zipto, because this is the same spot Hayes found a double from a couple rounds ago, and now they go running into her again. Capricious alone, and the knife is out! Luckily, she will be spared the taste of the blade, but the bullet does the job just the same. 8-3. Ninetails with an unbelievable streak, and it might not end before the second half. 1 round to play for. They will be leading at the half. The question is only by how much.
Yeah, I think after the first 3 rounds, I think many people would have expected a dominant streak of rounds, but not from Ninetails. It was looking like a scary game. And if anything, since then, it's looked like a walk in the park. Full Moon has definitely been the star of the show, but there's been plenty to write home about for Ninetails. And what is now another mixed bag buy for the side of Zipto, a Judge in the mix, a Sheriff once again. Let's see if they can maybe bring things back at least a little closer.
Watch out, gotta go.
You're stunned in the slide here, but up close there's a Judge to deal with. It doesn't matter.
Here we go.
Apparently it never does in this half, as Ever takes the double. And Zipto find themselves in a 5v3, at least one to be returned.
What is Con's crosshair? I've only just noticed that. That's oh, definitely interesting. Not one I've seen before. Oh, hey, yeah, as you said, it's done the damage nonetheless. In the meantime, the B site now under pressure. Here we go, completely blinded. And it does again. She's doing the work. Maybe it's the crosshair to use. Maybe I'm wrong. Graham's is there as well, and it still leaves 2 standing. The problem is, again, that weaponry not the best. Operator looked away at the wrong time, and the wraparound from Dana perfectly placed, but taking a lot of damage as she goes 3-3-2. Where are you going with that shorty? Expected someone a little closer. Graham's with 1 more. It comes down to the 1v1, but she walks out while reloading. Oh no! It's the 9th from Ninetails, and I feel like everything that could have gone wrong in this half for Zipto has.
Yeah, 9 rounds in a row after a dominant 3-0 start. Zipto have stalled out of half number 1. All that remains to be seen is if they can bounce back in the next half after the break.
Can I help you, sir?
Here's the bill from the dealership where I got my car, and I'd like you to beat it with a better deal on one of these fine cars.
Not how it works.
Guess you're not as cool as Verizon.
Bring in your AT&T or T-Mobile bill for a better deal today.
Well, a big reason that that streak continued as we get into our Coinbase Econ report was Full Moon. I remember 2 rounds where it seemed like Zipto were getting right back on the horse, and it was Full Moon to send them flying right back off it.
Yeah, she was just a pain in the ass, for use of better words. She was just in the backline every single time, and with how aggressive this squad liked to be, it almost felt like they made it very easy for her to just catch them on the rotations. The same happened once or twice with Haste as well. I think just a good game plan from Ninetails, and especially with how Zipto started, I thought they had that under control. But it seemed like as the game went on, it fell further and further from the truth. Still though, seems like they're in good spirits heading into their attack side, especially with the composition they've got, that double duelist. There's always going to be potential. I'm yet to see that Zipto that we kind of expect to see, a team that has beaten Ninetails twice, once in a best of 5, once in a best of 3, and only lost a single map. This might be the second.
All the barriers up and the second half is underway. Ninetails had a lot of success in taking A main when it came to their attacking side, and now on the defense, it's going to be more of the same, allowing those rotations to be a little bit more freely used. You can already see there's a TP that's online towards that B site, and it's going to be taken. There's pressure already applied. Capricious finding the opening will send this entire defensive side, well, for a moment, scattered, moving towards the B site. But now they look to re-clear, fight towards middle, and if they're quick enough, they might even catch that rotation. The spike is on its way, but all of Zipto are here.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Haste has still been able to do incredible work, and the last are so desperately low. Only Graham's left once again, but with 8 HP, it would need to be impressive. It's not a bad start, but the last player, she doesn't know she's here. 3-3-2, and she was nodding before she took the kill. She knew exactly what she was about to do. 10-3, that might be the nail in the coffin for map 1.
It definitely feels like it, Tom. That pistol round had to go to Zipto, and they started off so well. They took down not just a player, they took down the player that's pulled this squad back into it in so many of the rounds. Our highlight coming out of that first half.
Just full on nodding.
Bye bye.
And even though they got rid of Full Moon, it was still Zipto left in the darkness. A 10-3 lead for Ninetails. The squad coming in almost everyone's mind as the underdogs. Shout out me and Jan. But
Well,
for
you don't
Zipto,
think they were underdogs?
me and Jan clearly didn't. We predicted them, so, you know.
You can predict an underdog.
Sure.
Okay.
But I didn't. I predicted
All right.
the clear favorite, Tom.
Right. Is that why you always predict Enzo? Anyway, we are going to have ourselves
My favorite.
the Sheriffs. Yeah, it doesn't win, though. And we'll see if we're going to get much damage done. I feel like Zipto almost need to make something of this round, invested a little bit more than you might normally see in a spot, especially when they didn't find themselves the plant.
Obscuring vision.
Diving into the site. Full Moon this time is available. It's okay. The kill came through. Just not for her, but Eva seems to have turned it. And eventually, Dana is there with the judge on her feet once again. 11-3. A dominant map. And while I feel like the timeout that's coming is just a last-ditch effort, I don't know what it's going to have to be said to turn this tide.
Yeah, I mean, as much as there's no point leaving that timeout until the game is over, right? It's going to be very difficult to give them the kind of guidance they need to get back into this game. The one thing I will say is now we're on the attack side, and where there was a consistent attempt from Zipto to play aggressive in the early stages of the defensive side, which even on this meta, you know, we talk about how difficult it is on the attack because you have these limited amount of bursts, especially when Ninetails were using their initiator utility right at the start of the round towards A. There's typically going to be this 50, 60 second gap from when that goes up to when they're setting up to actually execute into a site. And during that time, they were holding, they were waiting, and Zipto walked into them. I think that this is somewhere that it was a game plan issue, and then in a couple of rounds where they had the right ideas, where the pieces were falling into place, Ninetails had someone like Full Moon or like Haste who was playing in the spawn to flip the table completely and send their pieces scattering. So I do think there's more of a chance, all that to say this, for Zipto on the attack, because they get to play their pace at least. It's not like they're being disrupted the way that they were in that first half.
The buy as well is interesting. You can see the confidence that's currently in for Ninetails, as they're going to sort of over-invest into what is a bonus round. Like, they're just looking to close this out. And, well, that's not a bad start. One of the players that will have no credits for the next round if they don't win it was Dana purchasing up this Outlaw, and she has already done that 140 hit onto Yuumi, the player you'd expect to be going in first.
Yeah, you'd expect her to go in first because sliding in, it's very hard to hit the head, but you don't need to hit the head now, do you? Just a single shot, a right click of a classic from the other side of the map will take you down.
Go, go,
Even a
go.
left click.
Yeah. A little RNG as well. You don't even need to aim. But yeah, it's somewhere now that they have to go back to a plan B, and it's going to be a contact up towards main, and they've actually found one. Ever dropped A site completely open as a result, and with the Vice wall covering off Art, they don't have any info. By now, those players could have shift walked out, and now they realize that there is presence elsewhere on the map, the B site. And it's a Yoru that could easily be a TP to rotate this position from Sammy is perfect. She's walking up behind them. They have nothing to cover their back. The utility used towards the A site in the early round. For a moment, we saw Con checking and Con goes back. Okay, Con's actually clearing it, but Sammy the one to win the fight. A flash and a decoy ready, and that's sending them into Full Moon as they know they don't have control over Long anymore. A chance for Full Moon to swing in from the top rope, but back already open.
Actually done well. Survived maybe a little bit longer than would have expected, and the chance for her teammate was big, but now Graham, I think, putting out that ultimate in a spot where it's necessary, can figure out where they are. Even still, although they've been isolated. An opportunity. It's left all onto Graham's once again. Had to reposition to try and get eyes onto the spike. First shot connected and tagged desperately low. Is there time? It's close. I think just about, yeah, she's going to have this. In fact, it's not particularly close. It will be another round for Ninetails, and honestly, yeah, I'm starting to ask some questions as well. That felt like an easy close for Zipto, but they have let that slip.
It should have been. On the other hand, for Ninetails, really well played that while the Yoru's in ult, they say, okay, now's our time to strike. If we wait, it's a 3v2, but right now, they don't have help. They don't have support, and Graham's, I feel like every time we've seen that ult popped, it's just a little underwhelming. Although you can't really pin it just on her. Those two players in Con shouldn't have lost that
one.
fight.
I don't mind where it was. Yeah, that was the thing. I think where it was popped, I was actually fine with it, but it just didn't go to plan this time.
Big stuns. They've slowed down this push in A main. They've heard the steps as well. Ninetails know what's coming, but it's a different story to try to deal with it.
Low player on the site as well. That will be a second found. A good start to a round that needs to be the start of 9 in a row. Again, we're going to see 3-3-2 put herself into a pocket that, I was going to say wouldn't be expected, but it will now be expected. Con is just waiting for a singular move, and unless her spidey senses are tingling, they're all coming back. I can actually hear people moaning in the crowd. It's like, oh, why did she have to get spotted? Well, it's unfortunate, but already a fairly heavy deficit.
Well, Haste has done well. The thing is, like, with the way these rounds have gone, we haven't seen Zipto win since round 3. There's always a chance, but Graham seems to have finally connected the round that Zipto needed long ago. 12-4 from a 3-0 start. 12 rounds in a row. They call it timeout. Ninetails have called it timeout after winning 12 out of 13 rounds. That actually just feels disrespectful. Like, oh, you won. Take a minute. Celebrate. Yeah, good job.
The thing I want to know is,
that's nasty.
Is that the coach? Like, do we need to report the coach for toxicity? Because that, wow. I wonder what is going to be said. It does feel like proper instructions are being given. So, you know, I think maybe realizing that again they've lost to this team both times that they've played. They've only won a single map against them before, and they're taking this very, very seriously. Of course, elimination is on the line. Coach 972 with an opportunity to really pass on some wisdom here. How to not lose 8 rounds in a row.
I have to say, you know, there is the one side of me, which it seems like the most likely, that, yeah, this is a disrespectful pause. Is just, sit in
It
it.
didn't seem like he was just
But-
sat there giggling.
Yeah, the other thing, the other side of it, having seen, you know, the sort of body language there as well, is that genuinely, it's better to just crush them right here and now. It's better to not give them that.
The other
okay,
team.
we warmed
The other
up
team.
for Ninetails
He's not
to
been paid
crush
off.
Zipto, to get everything in line, to not give them a way back in. Because when you start to feel like, you know what, we got there in the end, then that second map's a little bit easier mentally to fire up into mid-fight. And Yumi's done well to find two, but it's trades out. And on a round like this, where Ninetails don't have a lot of cash invested, that is, that's all that you need, is to trade that out.
Info peak. I think might be actually with util in hand, and the cover wasn't there. Graham's now looks like she's going to go down as well. 3-3-2 taking over, and only Con, the player to try and save them. First should be easy. Second player just around the corner though, and she'll get that as well with the spike in hand. But there's already been a rotation, a full read from 3-3-2. She is in prime position to end this map here and now. Started rotating immediately. The nod's out again into the smoke. Is she trying to get a knife kill? That's what it looked like. She's had to TP all the way to the other side of the map just to escape.
It's a word I don't think I've ever said, Tom. Certainly not unironically, but genuine aura play right there. To go for the knife to close the map after 12 rounds in a row after
I thought you were
calling
going to
a
say
timeout.
trolling, but
Yeah. You got an 8-round lead. I mean, why not? And look, here she comes. It's over. A 4K for Sam Sammy.